Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. I hope everyone's having a lovely Friday and I hope everyone has a lovely weekend. Today I'd like to talk a bit about the Idaho quadruples that took place on the 13th of November 2022. May the four victims rest in peace, condolence to their families. Today I'd like to discuss a bit about the 911 call. The 911 call was made at 11:58 by, I believe, Hunter Johnson. He is best friend. He doesn't live far away from 1122 Kings Road. His girlfriend, Emily, seems to be the best friend of Xana. We've seen many clips of Xana, E, and Hunter and Emily together. We've seen Emily and Hunter in a lot of parties in 1122 Kings Road. We've in fact seen Hunter opening the door for the cops twice. Once the front door, when he opens the door with this other guy from Sigma Chi, I believe his name is Eddie, if I'm not wrong, but he comes from Sigma Chi. And that's the time he says that they don't know who lives there, but the girls have gone out to another party, if you remember. Then you have the time that Hunter opens the sliding door, and you can hear how loud the sliding door is when you open it and close it. So I'm surprised that nobody heard the suspect coming from the sliding door. So what I'm trying to say is Hunter Johnson was very close, I believe, not only to Xana and E, he was close to Maddie and Kaylee, and somehow, especially Kaylee, we've seen Hunter with Kaylee opening the sliding door for the cops. He seemed to spend an awful lot of time in that house, and I wonder why. I wonder if there was rugs going on, if there were people dealing in that house. There was an extra room because Ashton, what's her name? Ashley Kutcher, I believe. She basically changed her mind and she did not want to live there anymore. So we did see the spare room. There was always golf kit and things there. So I don't know if it was a store for them, a storeroom. Could that be the room where the people hid when the victims came home? And they could have surprised them from running from downstairs. Let's not forget the password of this house. Many people had the code so they could let themselves in. Many people had access of the password, so let's not forget that. The sliding door could have been left open by mistake, or it could have been left open on purpose. For a second, I'm not going to ignore the fact that the surviving roommates took 8 hours to call the police. And if they took 8 hours and the jury and the grand jury, actually basically the grand jury, when the grand jury happened a year ago, it was leaked out that Bethany Funk and DM were actually texting each other. So if that is the case, that means these people have plenty of time to leave the door open or to let people in. Because if DM is supposed to be in a state of shock and she has PTSD and basically she's in a frozen state of shock, how could she be texting, what's her name? BF. How is that possible? I thought she was in a state of shock mind. She doesn't have a toilet in her room. She shares a toilet with Xana. So didn't she need the toilet? Or did she just use her room as the toilet? This doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. She said she saw a guy with bushy eyebrows. When did she meet him? She didn't say that the first day when this crime happened, when the police were called. It wasn't said in the police conference. The police did not want to even name them as witness. He said they're surviving roommates. I've never called them witness. So when did he change his mind and decide to consider them as witness? When at the start he said that he has to investigate and find out. So did it take them 7 weeks to investigate that DM wasn't a witness? Why didn't DM say it from the start? She said she's a grown adult. So is BF. They said they were sleeping upstairs. Let's not make a mistake. If they were sleeping downstairs, why did DM lie to the police and say she was sleeping downstairs if she was sleeping upstairs? Or if she was sleeping upstairs, why did she say she was sleeping downstairs? Are they going to say that when you're in a shock that you lie, that it's normal to lie? Is that what's the next thing we're going to hear? This does not make sense at all. Make it make sense. So you have the 2 surviving roommates who are left untouched, unharmed, and you have Murphy the dog who's left unharmed and untouched. But you have 4 victims in the big house who've been slaughtered and brutally unalived. So was it targeted? Who was the target? There was all kind of things that were said in the start, crime of passion. The mayor said that. Then later on it was debunked. Then it was said the roommates were the targets. Then it was said no, it was the house that was the target. What was actually going on? Could it be possible that the police were focusing on the wrong places and on the wrong people? That all the students, just say if some of the Greek lifestyle students did this, yeah? All they have to do is, since they're a group, tell all the Greek friends of theirs to call the police and turn in a co-burger for this case. Example, it is possible. Because it took 7 weeks for the police it took 7 weeks for the police to arrest someone. And after they arrested someone on, I think, was it the 30th of December, 2022, is when a week later, the first beginning week of January, is when the police decided to put out the affidavit and said that DM saw them. DM saw the suspect. She saw someone who was 5'11". She didn't see someone who was 6'2" or 6'1", because BK is 6'1" or 6'2". Saeed has bushy eyebrows. He looks like he's 5'11". Maybe a bit shorter. Just saying. Where was Jagdeep that night? Because the girls were calling him. That's why I'm wondering. Is he trying to say he didn't hear 1 call out of the 10 missed calls? Or maybe he knew something was going to go down, so he ignored the calls. Or was he in the room? Did he call himself like I've always said? I want to know why they chose Hunter. Why did they choose to call Hunter? Why Hunter? Where was Emily? She didn't come, did she? And what was going on in the memorial with Hunter? He seems to be nervous. He seems to be all red. It's possible that he just has a phobia standing on stage and reading out a statement or presentation, which I do have. But it looked a bit more than that. He was coming out with stupid jokes that didn't make sense, that he owed him money. I know people do say a bit jokes to the occasion to have a big laugh and all, but then his was a bit weird, odd jokes that did not make sense at all.
Hello. My name's Hunter Johnson. Me and Ethan became best friends over the last year and a half we spent at the U of I. And since we became such good friends, I feel honored and privileged to even be able to share who he was to everyone here. I met Ethan during Fall Rush of last year, and if you don't know what Rush looks like for fraternity guys, it's you're coming in as a freshman and you're walking to 10 different fraternity houses and talking to 100 different guys, trying to understand all of them and see if you fit in with them. And I remember he was the first person I talked to during Rush that year, and I knew immediately that he was someone that I wanted to be friends with and someone I wanted to join my house. My first impression of Ethan was some tall, goofy kid that, looked athletic, and he was, because we played a lot of basketball during that time. Unfortunately, the basketball wasn't enough to convince him to join my house, so he ended up going to Sigma Chi, but that didn't mean we weren't going to be friends forever. So one thing he told me, because he told me he was going to join Sigma Chi, he said, "If I do that, you better not block me and ghost me on anything." And I couldn't believe he said that, because I just knew I wanted to be friends with him for a long time. He had such an infectious smile and a charismatic personality. And if you knew anything about Xana as well, they were very similar in how they acted together. Me and Ethan shared a lot of memories together. Usually at a party where me and him would be controlling the aux and be singing at the top of our lungs any country music song with 50 other people in there not saying a word, just us singing as loud as we could. Some of my other favorite memories that I had with Ethan also included Xana, and those were the times we spent on the golf course. Me, Ethan, Xana, and Emily, we went a lot over the summer and before summer. And you knew it was going to be a good time when we went golfing, when we had more drinks in our bag than we did golf balls. And we usually had to send Xana and Emily to go throughout the forest to look for more golf balls for us, because we ended up losing so many. If you knew Ethan, he was never angry about anything. He would never get upset. You couldn't upset him ever. And one time we went to play 18 holes, and he wanted to bet money every hole, $2 every hole. If you won the hole, you got $2. If you tied, you didn't get it, it just turned to $4 the next hole. And I remember he won the first hole. He whooped me, actually, that first hole, and I remember him being so happy, and he was pretty confident going up to the next hole. Unfortunately for Ethan, I ended up winning the next 17 holes. If you also knew Ethan, you knew he wasn't great with money. And so it wasn't a great feeling when I had to come up to him and ask for the $34 he owed me after the round, because he would ask me to get him drinks every week. He'd say, "Hunter, I need some Bud Light Limes. Can you go to the store and get me some?" And I was like, "Yeah, Ethan, I'd love to, after you pay me back for the last 2 weeks that I got you Bud Light Limes." But so yeah, as you suspect, I never got those $34. Ethan was always someone you could count on to make you smile and cheer up your mood. Everybody loved him and his beautiful mustache he had, and feel so lucky to have shared so many great memories with him. I'm gonna miss our favorite Moana songs we would sing together. Me visiting you and Xana at your parents' house with Emily, and you guys also coming to my cabin and hanging out with my family, and watching you carry all of your drinks in a garbage bag when you walked into a party. I know we're all gonna miss these. I love you so much, E and Zan. Thank you.
I would love to give some credit and some positiveness to Mr. Hunter Johnson, because a thought came across my mind that when these quadruples happened and there was this obviously this memorial, this tribute to the 4 victims, for some reason the surviving roommates did not come on stage, or they were not there that night to give their tribute to the 4 victims, their 4 friends they lost and roommates. But I can understand, because obviously DM and BF is getting a lot of heat. But yet again, Hunter is getting a lot of heat because the girls, the surviving roommates, called him first. But still, Hunter Johnson decided to come to the memorial, although he was the 911 caller. It looked like he was a bit nervous. He was itching himself, scratching himself a bit, playing with his hair. But then, honestly, let's be fair, I don't blame him. There's thousands of students and staff standing there, teachers and their parents and the parents of the 4 victims. His parents, for all you know. So obviously, I'm sure he's going through it. But then sometimes I wonder, what if he knew? The itchiness and all could be a sign of nervousness, anxiousness. This case, the sad and strange thing with this case is you can hardly say anything, because if you say anything, people are going to attack you. They're going to say, don't talk about the surviving roommates. Then they're going to say, don't talk about the Sigma Chi boys. They're just frat boys. I've got a lot of heat for the Banfield boys and side with the bushy eyebrows. People who are telling me they're minors. No, they're not minors. They are minors. That means in the sense that they're under 21. They're not supposed to be drinking hardcore liquor. That's the only difference. They're not minors. They're adult enough to know what they were doing. I would love to know where those Banfield boys came from. One of them, in fact, 2 of them had Van shoes on. One was the 3 boys at Banfield. One of them had on the Vans shoes on, black Van shoes with white laces and with white stripes on it. And then you had Saeed, who had the same pair. And then you have Saeed, who's bushy eyebrows. You have Saeed, who's around 5'10", 5'11". You have these boys that are all could have been in that description line. Let's be honest. Look at the timing. What is happening closest to 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock? Basically between 2 to 5. Watch what's happening. Pay attention, pay close attention, and you'll see. I believe this was done by people who knew the roommates, people who've been inside that house before, plenty of times. They know how the layout of the house is, the steps. They know it's 3 layers. They know how many a sliding door, front door. They know how many windows it has. I'm sure it's somebody who did their homework and researched the house inside and outside so that they would make sure that nobody catches them. But I find it difficult to believe that a random stranger like Mr. BK would come with a house full of 5 people and a dog. Taking such a daring, bold chance is quite unlikely. Plus, let's not forget the house wasn't dark from behind. It had the lights on, the night lights out, so the house was quite lighted. It was Christmas was coming near. So this is really strange. I believe the whole university, not the whole university, many of the students knew that it was going down tonight, whatever was going down. And I really believe that it was a shakedown. These 4 victims was getting shaken down for money they must have used, or rugs they must have thrown, or some kind of secret they let out about human trafficking or something like that. But this is bigger than we think. That's why I believe there's I wouldn't say cover up, but yeah, it is kind of a cover up. Whatever, I'm not saying the whole case is a cover up, but certain parts of the cases looks to me like there's more into it than they are letting us know. So I don't know if that could be considered as a cover up or what we can call that, but there is something there that they're hiding, that they're not telling us. I remember many of the mainstream news channels like ABC and NBC News saying that there was blood on the walls. If there's red liquids on the wall, I wonder, was someone's name written on it? Was Maddie written, or was Kaylee written? Or was horrible things said about the 4 victims or one of the victims that the police understood that this was a targeted crime? Something made them understand immediately that it was a targeted crime. So I believe it was something that they found at the crime scene. Possibly. Hunter looks very nervous, and I can imagine, if he's innocent, imagine what he has seen and witnessed. He was the first person who was called by the surviving roommates to the house. And he must have, I think, he was lying in the corridor. The more I check into, the more reports I hear, the more even what's it called? The mainstream news channels that are known, that are really mainstream, are even saying that he was found in the corridor. So I really don't listen to some of the certain YouTube creators who say she has contact with the Sigma Chi boys or Hunter, and they told her that's all crap. Hunter was found at the corridor. I really believe that. Near the toilet, the corridor. He must have been running towards Xana's room to warn her or to lock her door, because you can see where the forensic team are taking pictures. They're kind of like bending on their knees, and they're like sitting at the corridor and taking pictures. You can see the flashes going out. And I'm not talking about 1 dozen of flashes. And they're looking towards the toilet side too. I wonder if he was in the toilet and if it was someone who was already inside the house. Maybe they're inside roommates too. You never know. Maybe somebody just got him from behind, and that's how he fell near the corridor. I don't know. I'm just wondering, because something doesn't make sense, and I really believe that this is an inside job. Somebody in the inside was giving the suspect or suspects all the information about when the girls are going to be home, unless the house was bugged. There's no other way to put that. And I don't know if there was a live stream there, but something was not right either, because it seemed like Saeed, Jovita, many other people were watching pictures that look like crime scene pictures. Especially, what's his name? Jovita was watching somebody with a dungaree pant, a full dungaree pant. And maybe that's the one the police are searching for. Maybe that's why there wasn't so much red liquid found. Traces of red liquid coming outside the house. I believe more that the people who did this did it on foot. I wouldn't be surprised if it was both on foot and by car. I won't be surprised if the Jacks, the Davids, and Kobergers involved. Something is not right in this case. But I believe this case should be transferred to Boise, Idaho, or another court in Idaho, somewhere bigger and far away from Moscow, Idaho. I don't believe anyone's going to get the correct justice because it's not in the best interest of Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee to be getting the wrong justice. Nobody just wants justice if justice is not going to be the correct justice. Let's not forget that. I wonder why the surviving roommates chose to call Hunter. Why not anyone else? Why Hunter? Why not his brother? Kaylee's brother was in the high school. Why didn't they call Kaylee's brother? But that Sunday he was at home watching TV. But why didn't anyone call the family to inform them? And it's strange that Kaylee's mother said she heard that Kaylee got shot at a party. So was there a party at the house that night? What was actually going on? What are these people hiding? We've heard plenty of times that the students were gagged. We've heard it so often in the beginning that those rumors came out from Idaho Moscow students because the police had to debunk it from the beginning, and it came from this. It didn't come from social media. It came from Idaho Moscow, the university. So were these students gagged? Were they tied up? Some of the pictures look like they were tied up. Kaylee was definitely in her room. I really believe that because Maddie was in her room, Kaylee was in her room, because you can hear, pay attention to the affidavit, what Dylan says. DM heard somebody playing with her dog that she thought was Kaylee. And then after a while she heard somebody who thinks who was Kaylee saying, there's somebody here. So anyway, for Kaylee to be playing with her dog, Kaylee would be playing with Murphy or talking to Murphy, or Kaylee would be sleeping near Murphy at her room, not at Maddie's room. I don't believe that Kaylee, Maddie, and Murphy were in that little tiny room. I believe Kaylee was with her dog Murphy in her room, and what's her name? Maddie was sleeping in her room, and Kaylee must have heard the yelling and everything, and she went to see what was going on. That's what I believe happened. But I don't understand, and it will never make sense, why it took 8 hours for the surviving roommates to call 911. And before they called 911, why did they call Hunter? So that because of that situation, we can see how easily the house, the crime scene, could be tampered with. We could see how everything can go wrong. It's not normal to call the police after 8 hours and to call Hunter before 911. Doesn't make sense. I wonder if something happened to Kaylee and Maddie after they went to walk. They must have taken Murphy, they let him out to potty. That's what Kaylee's sister said. So I wonder how did they let Murphy out? Did they let him out by himself? Does he just go around, like go out to the sliding door around and like behind just there? Or does he go further down? Or do they have to chase him? I wonder what the pattern of Murphy is like usually. But I'm sure that people in the neighborhood heard the victims yelling. Nobody bothered. I think this was a shakedown. That's why I believe certain things of what WSU Kim says She says a lot of lies too, but I believe there's a lot of truth in what she says. I hope this case is changed to another court venue, so that everyone at least gets some kind of justice. And I want to know why Xana wanted to change or ask her father to help her to fix her door lock. Did she change it? Did she get it tightened? Did she ask her father to screw it tight? Was it the inside door? Was it the outside door? What was this about? Let's not forget, I find that to be very important, and I'm very curious about that question. I really want to know the answer, because let's not forget, DM and Xana share the second floor. That means they share the toilet and the living room. What happened to Xana? Was she noticing her things being missing? Did she feel like her privacy was being invaded? Or maybe she just didn't trust DM. Something was going on. Make it make sense. Have a lovely weekend, guys. May the correct justice